other day, I heard a quote that just stuck with me. A perfect plan makes a great trip, but challenges make it an adventure. That quote would prove to be very relevant to my day. Hey, I'm Brett. Flying isn't just about where you're going, it's about where you can go. From rugged backcountry strips to the edges of the map, I'm chasing adventure, one landing at a time. So buckle up and come along. We are cleared to adventure.
Cessna 904 Alpha, radar services are terminated. You are cleared to adventure.
Well, good morning. That was a great night. And now, I'm gonna make some coffee.
I woke up to the sound of waves breaking at Pismo Beach. Not a bad way to start the morning. I had camped at Oceano, and I had laid in the tent the night before and mapped out what I thought was going to be a pretty solid plan for today. But if you have watched this channel for any length of time, you probably already know how that tends to go.
Breakfast of Champions. They had a cup at the little pilot shack over there. And today I'm having a white chocolate macadamia nut Cliff Bar. You would think that by now I'm sponsored by Cliff Bar. I'm not. I just really enjoy Cliff Bars. I would like to be sponsored by Cliff Bar because I go through a lot of them. But anyways, okay, let's talk about the plan attack for today while I drink this coffee. I need fuel pretty badly. Now, I came in with my VFR minimums, but I was planning on getting gas here. The issue is the pump doesn't work here and it's not notamed that it was out of service. So I need gas and I have two options. I've got San Luis Obispo, which is like literally 5 minutes that way, or I've got Santa Maria, which is about 10 minutes that way. After that though, we are going to go across the Central Valley of California toward Tehachapi and like Bakersfield area, because we're actually gonna pass pretty much right through, as long as winds are good, we're gonna pass right through Tehachapi. And then we're gonna kind of migrate our way out into the California desert, because today I'm gonna go see if I can get us into something that I've wanted to do since I was a little kid. And we're gonna go see if we can land and camp on Mars. Alrighty, the good news is gas at Oceano worked. The bad news is the marine layer is moving in really fast. So I'm gonna go get airborne before this moves in and locks me in for the day.
Just you wait, listen for the storm.
Oceano 194, I'm taking the active for the shoreline.
Hear the difference in the wind. When dark clouds form and start to turn, I'll run again. Far away when the hurricane comes in. Well, I'm the only island in the way, but I was born to fight the wind and rain. Sometimes a man will keep himself in shame, mask a painful past he overcame. Oh, yes. Oh.
Alrighty, well that was fun. That was a nice way to get your morning started. Nothing like the threat of a marine layer to really get you up and at 'em in the morning.
I got airborne just in time, and once I was up, I realized that I didn't really even know where I was going to be going next. The general idea was that I wanted to end the day camping at the Trona Pinnacles, but I had some time to kill. Having to get out of the airport before the marine layer hit meant that I was way ahead of schedule, or so I thought.
Far away when the hurricane comes in, when the dark clouds form and start to turn, I'll run again. Far away when the hurricane, oh, that old hurricane comes.
So I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but you guys are gonna be with me for the journey. I do know where I want to end up today, but it's such a short flight that, I mean, truthfully, there's other stuff that I want to go see. San Luis Obispo Tower, Cessna 8194 Alpha. We are just off Oceana. Actually, we're off Oceana. We're going to be transitioning your airspace up toward Paso Robles.
8194 Alpha, San Luis Tower, transition approved. Altimeter is 3005.
3005, thanks. No problem.
If you've never seen the Trona Pinnacles, picture this. Massive spires of rock shooting straight out of the desert. It looks like something out of Star Wars. Well, it kind of is. Over 30 movies and TV shows have been shot out here. It is this remote, surreal, and one of the most unique places that I've ever seen. To get there, I had to cross the Central Valley, then had to head up over the San Gabriel Mountains, then cross the Mojave Desert. Oh, and yeah, I had to thread the hawk wagon between two of the most restricted airspace blocks on the West Coast, and of course fly around and through two very active military operations areas, with almost no room for error. No pressure, right?
The question of the day, will I get rocked as I go over these mountains? That is always the question of the day. Yep, I'm gonna.
Before diving into all of that though, I had made a stop at the Mojave spaceport to grab some fuel and of course a sticker for the hawk wagon. From the outside, Mojave looks like just another dusty ramp out in the middle of nowhere. But this place has hosted some of the wildest aviation experiments on Earth. This is where Spaceship One launched in 2004.
3, 2, 1, mark.
The first private spacecraft to reach space. It's also where Virgin Galactic has been testing their stuff ever since. And just outside the ramp, well, that's the Mojave Boneyard. Dozens of old airliners lined up in rows, baking in the desert sun. Most of them will never fly again. Some might get parted out, but every single one of these planes has a story that will likely never get told.
Oh, this airport is so cool. You never know what you're gonna get here. All right, here we go.
After Mojave, it was time to push into the heat. And if there's one thing that the hawk wagon doesn't like, it's really warm temperatures. Even though Bentley Air had the plane running better than it ever has, it was 114 degrees on the desert floor, and well, that changes everything.
10 California City, Cessna 8194 Alpha. We're going to be transitioning airspace from the west to the east.
My performance was suffering. My oil temperatures were climbing, and I was sweating worse than a politician on a lie detector. I had found a defined road right out by the Pinnacles, and I had dropped in. I wanted to get a lay of the land before I tried anything too bold out by the Pinnacles themselves.
We're gonna go out and see the wind, and then I'll go find out where I'm gonna go from here. Because I want to go land out by the Pinnacles.
Not long after shutting down, this guy rolled up on a tiny scooter. His name was Tom. Turns out he's been riding this 125cc scooter around the world. Not the country, the world. He was on his way to Death Valley and had stopped to check out the Pinnacles. We ended up talking for over an hour about life, travel, flying, and what it means to be out chasing something different. Now, funny enough, this was the second time that I met a desert traveler like that. The first was at Amboy on another flight. There's just something about the desert that draws adventurers in. I'll drop Tom's socials in the comments. He's a great guy and shares some pretty incredible stuff from the road.
Alrighty. What a cool dude.
Eventually, I took off and flew over the Pinnacles to scout for a place to land, but it was clear right away that wasn't gonna happen. Density altitude was sky high. The hawk wagon was laboring, and my oil temperatures were at a level that I honestly have never seen before. 114 degrees is just too hot to be playing the low and slow game. So I diverted to the Trona airport about 15 miles away to let the engine cool and regroup. Now, if you've never heard of Trona, that makes sense. Most people haven't. It's a nearly 6,000-foot runway on the edge of restricted area 2505. There's no fuel, there's no services, just runway and a whole lot of heat. I shut down, popped the cowl, and let the hawk wagon breathe. A few minutes later, a guy pulled up in a car and introduced himself. His name was George. Sure enough, he's the airport manager. George welcomed me like an old friend. He showed me the pilot lounge, offered me some water, and we ended up talking for a couple of hours. George flies an air coupe. He volunteers with the sheriff's department, and he's one of those guys who's just deeply passionate about keeping aviation alive. When he took over as the airport manager 12 years ago, there was almost no income coming in. Now, he's helped build Trona back up, and they're even talking about getting avgas out there. If that happens, it would be the only fuel stop within an hour's flight in any direction. That would be a game changer for this region. After a lot of laughs and some great talking, I launched out of Trona and I headed back toward Mojave. Things had kind of cooled off and the hawk wagon was a little bit happier. Here's the thing. Normally, I'd be pretty frustrated by this point. I had one goal today. I wanted to land and camp at the Trona Pinnacles. But on my flight back, I thought about it, and I realized that I got something way better than just an adventure in front of the Pinnacles. This channel has always been about sharing the adventure of general aviation. And today, I got to meet two people, Tom and George, who reminded me exactly why I love doing this.
What a beautiful world, what a beautiful world that I'm living in with you. What a beautiful world, what a beautiful world that I'm living in with you.
Well, that's not what I wanted today, but you know what? I got something different that I wanted. That was crazy to run into him. That was just such a cool dude.
And if I could, I wouldn't change a thing being here with you.
as I crossed the desert and entered the LA basin, I felt a real sense of gratitude. The kind that sneaks up on you when plans fall apart. But life still shows up in its own weird, wonderful way.
Alrighty, back home we go.
Touching down on 26 left at Long Beach, I was greeted by my friends in the tower.
Turn 904 Alpha, stay parking.
We're going to signature.
Turn 904 Alpha, turn left at Foxtrot 2. Welcome back.
Thanks, guys. Off of Foxtrot 2 and over to signature. Hey, Sal.
And as I pulled into parking, a bunch of student pilots came out to talk to me about the Hawk Wagon. At that moment, I realized that being here, in a state that has very few backcountry pilots, I could make a bigger impact on general aviation than I could at home in Alaska. And I felt an overwhelming feeling of excitement and appreciation for what the future has in store for this journey. And those people, like yourself, that are along for the ride. None of this would have been possible without your continued support. Thanks again for coming along on this journey with me, and I'll see you next week.
What a beautiful world, what a beautiful world that I'm living in, that I'm living in with you. What a beautiful world, what a beautiful world that I'm living in, that I'm living in with you.
Cessna 904 Alpha, radar services are terminated. You are cleared to adventure.